What if you had an unlock code for ChatGPT to help you do your taxes or even replace your tax pro? Today, we're going to explore how ChatGPT from OpenAI is at the very early stages of infiltrating the accounting and tax industry, threatening to disrupt traditional ways of working. With its unparalleled capabilities, the AI is raising alarm bells for professionals like never before. Will you adapt or be left behind? Stay tuned as we examine the imminent changes posed by ChatGPT and its far-reaching consequences as it begins to disrupt the accounting and tax industry. Hey, it's Mark, and today we're talking about how ChatGPT is posed to disrupt the tax industry. Now, I've been putting off this video for a while, but there have been some recent breakthroughs that are pretty shocking, and I'm going to share with you today. But first, I have a major announcement that I like to share. I've actually decided to virtualize myself. So let's fast forward to the year 2024.
For example, this is me in 2024 as a virtual tax advisor. Pretty cool, huh? Well, as you can see, I'm still Mark Howard, but I'm now powered by AI to understand all 70,000 pages of the IRS tax code. That means I can answer any question faster and more accurately than most real tax advisors. I'm so advanced that if I can't help you save money on taxes, you don't have to pay me.
That was my digital twin. More on that in a future video. Be sure to tap that subscribe button to be the first to see it. Now here's the thing. We all want to reduce our taxes, but unfortunately not all tax advisors are created equally. Instead of spending time and money visiting a tax advisor, some are actually getting their information directly from ChatGPT, but with mixed results. Just as a quick primer, ChatGPT is an advanced AI language model developed by OpenAI. It's designed to understand and generate human-like text responses in a conversational manner. ChatGPT can be used in a wide range of applications, such as providing answers to questions, generating texts, assisting with content creation, and offering recommendations or advice. It's crucial to remember that while ChatGPT is potent and adaptable, it's not flawless. Like any tool, its effectiveness depends on the skill of the user. The encouraging news is that it can be trained, improving with each use. Nonetheless, its impressive language understanding and generation capabilities have made it a valuable tool in many industries, including accounting and tax, and it can help automate tasks, provide insights, and facilitate decision-making processes. Okay, so now that we've seen how fast AI, in particular ChatGPT, is growing, let's have a little fun here. So I'm going to share an interview of an actual reporter comparing ChatGPT against an actual real-life CPA. So this is actually pretty interesting, and they kind of go back and forth to see who's right. So let me see if I can share my screen here, and I'm going to go ahead and switch, and we'll actually watch the video together. I'll just kind of be on the side here. Okay, let's go.
Can I claim myself as a dependent?
Nope, you cannot claim yourself as a dependent on your tax return. Is that true?
Generally, the answer is no. I mean, there would be nothing to claim for yourself as a dependent. I think it's more so a determination for people and their kids, especially college-age kids, is when that really comes into play.
All right, next question I'm going to ask is, what is a deduction? A deduction is an expense that can be subtracted from your taxable income, reducing the amount of income that is subject to tax. Common deductions include charitable contributions, mortgage interest, state and local taxes, and certain types of business expenses. The purpose of deductions is to provide tax relief for expenses that are considered to be necessary or beneficial for taxpayers.
Pretty good. There's a famous tax court case that, or I don't know if it's tax court, it's a famous court case where they said deductions are acts of legislative grace, which basically means deductions are whatever the Internal Revenue Code says they are. That's really the answer.
Okay, so that was pretty cool. But what I want to show you next is actually pretty thrilling. So let's jump into this next part. Now, some folks think that ChatGPT is a fad, and just like a few other things, it's going to go away pretty soon. Well, actually, it's not. And it's not only getting smarter and faster, but I want to show you a few stats that I pulled up that just kind of give you a better idea of why things are actually just getting more and more intense. So let me go ahead and share my screen here, and we're going to kind of go through this together. So let's just hop down here. And what you're looking at here is so ChatGPT actually came out quite a while ago. Most of us are just hearing about it now, but it actually came out in 2018. So back here, this was quite a while ago, and we've been through many editions. So GPT-1 in 2018, GPT-2 in 2019, 2020 had GPT-3, and so on and so forth. 3.5 in 2022, and then just a couple weeks ago, on March 14th, the latest edition, GPT-4. And this is the paid version. I'm not sure if a lot of you are using this yet, but it's actually pretty powerful. So keep this in mind, because you'll notice how things are going faster and faster. I want to show you something a little different here. If you look at the growth of some of the more popular services, like Netflix, Kickstarter, Airbnb, look at the growth rate. So 3.5 years to get to 1 million users for Netflix, 2.5 years for Kickstarter, 2.5 years for Airbnb, so on and so forth. Spotify took about 5 months, Instagram 2.5 months, ChatGPT, it took 5 days to get to 1 million users. So that's pretty fast. Okay, so some other stats here, just a kind of a different way to look at it. You can see kind of like this trajectory of ChatGPT and how fast it's actually growing, in that 5-day mark, compared to Instagram and Spotify as well. Okay, I want to share with you a really nice sheet, and I'll actually share this sheet in the show notes below, so be sure to grab this. This one is basically showing how ChatGPT is doing on a lot of some of the world's tests, right? So legal bar exam, accounting tests, medical IQ. So let's kind of break these down. I'm going to deep dive into accounting, but let's just kind of talk about a few other things. So first, accounting it took ChatGPT 3.5. So GPT 3.5 would pass the CPA exam at a 57.6 percentage rate. Now that's not exactly passing, right? But that's how it's doing. And this is based on version 3.5. Now, if we so basically, it hasn't been tried on version 4 yet, which is actually pretty interesting. Okay, so now if we look at the legal environment, right? So the bar examination, this is saying that it would pass the bar with a 50.3%. And again, this is version 3.5. So this is again, remember, this is not the latest version. This is not version 4. And version 4 is actually 10 times more advanced than 3.5, right? So this is basically this is almost old information. So this is going so quick, right? And this was actually taken in the end of December here, right? I'm going to do another one for I want to run some updates, but just to kind of give you a better idea. So medical exam, it would pass about a 60%. Apparently, ChatGPT has an IQ. Let's see, 147, not bad. Okay, if it took the SAT exam, it would get about a 1020 out of a 1600. Okay, so it goes on to all these different things. So like I said, I wanted to dig into the accounting because many of my colleagues and friends are accountants, CPAs, tax advisors, and what does this really mean for our profession? So I want to share with you some more information here. This is, so for the CPAs out there, you know exactly what this is, and this is basically the CPA exam, right? So there's different parts of the actual exam, right? So the 4 parts of the exam, so the auditing and attestation, the business environment and concepts, the financial accounting part, regulatory. So basically, these are the 4 parts of the CPA exam, and you can see ChatGPT did different test levels. So basically, it did just over about 65% for the business environment and concepts. So overall, that the 57.6%. This is where it comes from on the main part of the test here. So this is the overall test, what we're looking at right here. And as you can see, when GPT-2 came out, a few years ago, and it started to do so that the CPA exam was taken at various points. Don't worry about these model names. These are just various names for GPT across the years. But basically, it's saying, hey, when GPT first did the CPA exam, it did about a 10% at this level here, and then it didn't pass, but it got a 20% grade, and then about 25%, and then 30%, and now it's at that 50, at that just almost 57% mark right here. And again, this is based on the 3.5 model for ChatGPT, right? So if GPT-4 is 10 times smarter and more advanced than 3.5, what do you think the new score on the CPA exam is going to be? Well, I'm going to share these results in a future video, so be sure to subscribe. Just so you can stay up to date on this. But like I said, really interesting stuff, and I just wanted to kind of share a bit of kind of what's going on in terms of how smart ChatGPT is actually getting across the board. One final thing I want to share here, and this is I think probably the most interesting thing, is so this is actually a report. Now I'll kind of go to the top here, and I'm not going to geek out too much on this. This is a pretty long scientific paper, but basically a paper was done by the University of Pennsylvania and some other schools, basically looking at how GPT is affecting the labor market, right? So what we find here is that around 80% of the U.S. workforce could have at least 10% of their work tasks affected by the introduction of LLMs. LLM is a large language model, so another name for ChatGPT. There's actually dozens of ChatGPT alternatives out there. Okay, while approximately 19% of workers may see at least 50% of their tasks impacted. Okay, so basically it's saying about, 19, almost 20% of workers can see about half of their tasks impacted. All right, so basically, and the workforce could have at least 10% of the work tasks affected. So 80% of the workforce could have 10% of the tasks affected, while 19% of workers could see at least 50% of tasks impacted, right? So you're going to watch these numbers. You're going to see them growing. Just to kind of put it in context here, let me just skip down to page, I believe it's 16 here. Let's make sure I have this right. Okay, yep. So these are different occupations, right? Everything from interpreters, translators, mathematicians, tax preparers. So let's kind of look at the tax preparers here. And what we're looking at is, just kind of clear this out here. So this is basically saying how exposed are different jobs to GPT or ChatGPT. Okay, and this is basically looking at look at the exposure numbers. So this means numbers that have jobs that have 100% mean are most exposed, right? So let's just look at, for example, tax preparers, 100% exposure. Let's look at accountants and auditors, 100% exposure. Now, don't freak out. It doesn't mean GPT is 100% capable of replacing. So what exactly does exposure mean? So basically exposure, we can actually break it down here. So it goes on to say here, exposure percentages indicate the share of an occupation's tasks that are exposed to GPT or GPT-powered software, where exposure is defined as driving a reduction in time it takes to complete the task by at least 50%, okay? So basically it's not saying doing the entire job, but if the most exposed jobs, it will reduce the time it takes those tasks within that job to be decreased by about 50%. So these are numbers that definitely should be watched. So again, tax preparers and accountants have some pretty high exposures. Others not so much, like translators, poets, animal scientists, public relations specialists. So these are numbers to watch, and like I said, I want to be able to give some updates on these soon. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch back over to our main screen here. And so lots of interesting stuff here. So let's kind of go on to the next section. Okay, up next, ChatGPT does a pretty bad job at giving tax advice unless you give it the right content and right context. So first, I'm going to show you what it's like to ask questions in normal mode, and then I'm going to share with you a secret hack to unlock ChatGPT to simulate an experienced tax advisor. So I'm going to cut on over to my other screen here, and let's see if I can go ahead and share this. So let's go to my next window here. So let's just say, so I'm using GPT-4 here, and let's just say, hi, I'm Mark and need some help reducing my taxes. Okay, so hi, I'm Mark. I need some help reducing my taxes. Hello, Mark. I'd be happy to help you explore ways to potentially reduce your tax burden. Keep in mind that I'm an AI language model and I'm not a certified tax professional. So it's always best to consult with a tax advisor for personalized advice. Here are some general tips to consider. Now, I'm not gonna read through the whole thing here, but so it gives you some general ideas. Maximize deductions, contribute to retirement accounts. Do a health savings account, which is good. Use tax credits. A few things here. Harvest tax losses. Deduct business expenses. But it doesn't really know much about me, so it's kind of just really hitting me with a lot of different things here, which is okay. But we want to really unlock the nitty gritty of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the generation on this for a moment. And I'm going to enter in a prompt. So what I mean by prompt is that with ChatGPT, you can enter certain scripts or prompts. You may have heard of things like prompt engineering. It's basically when you enter in a certain prompt to unlock special abilities. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and paste in this prompt here. Okay, so now it's saying, hello, thank you for calling TaxGPT, your friendly tax advisor. How may I assist you today? Okay, so this is interesting. So let's just go ahead and use the same thing. Hi, I'm Mark, and I need help reducing my taxes. Okay, so now let's see. Okay, so it's a little more friendly. Hi, Mark. It's great to meet you. I'd be more than happy to help you identify potential tax strategies to reduce your taxes. To better understand your unique financial situation, I'll be asking a series of questions. Okay, so it's basically asking me some questions now, and it's okay. So it's not just vomiting just all these random tax strategies without knowing anything about me. It's basically now the context is essentially set. Okay, so let's start with your sources of income. Are you self-employed? Are you employed, self-employed? Do you have any side businesses? Okay, a pretty good question here. Let's go ahead and say self-employed. Okay. Thanks for the information, Mark. Being self-employed gives you access to various deductions and tax savings opportunities. Next, I'd like to know the nature of your self-employed business. Okay. What industry are you in, and what kind of products or services do you provide? Let's see. I run a SaaS business. Okay. I'll just give it something general. That's great, Mark. A SaaS business can offer some unique tax savings opportunities. Now, let's discuss your expenses. What are your main business-related expenses, such as rent, utilities, blah, blah, blah? Okay, let's just say about maybe $25,000 in expenses. Okay, thanks for providing your expenses, Mark. We'll take that into account when identifying potential tax saving strategies. Moving on, do you have any real estate holdings such as rental properties or a personal residence or a home office that you use for your SaaS business? Yes, I have a home office and I own a short-term rental property. Maybe look at this more information that my wife helps manage. All right, let's see what that looks like. That's helpful information, Mark. Both a home office and a short-term rental property can provide tax benefits. Now, let's discuss your family situation. Are you married, and do you have any dependents or children? You mentioned your wife, but I want to make sure I have all the relevant details. So this is important. It actually remembers a part of the context. Now, this is not foolproof, because if you have a very, very lengthy conversation, if it's asking you dozens and dozens of questions, you'll find that there's this context window where it eventually forgets what's asked, okay? So right now it's keeping everything relevant in context, okay? So it's asking me about my family situation. I have 2 kids, 8 and 18, let's just say in college. Okay. Thanks for sharing, Mark. Having children can also impact your tax situation, especially with the availability of certain tax credits. Now, let's talk about your retirement planning. Are you contributing to any retirement accounts, such as traditional IRA, Roth IRA, or solo 401k? Okay, that's good. If so, let me know the amounts you're contributing. I'll say no, not yet. Maybe I'll just ask a sneaky little question. Should I? Not sure if I make enough. Contributing to a retirement accounts can be a great way to save for your future while also reducing your tax burden. Whether or not it's right for you depends on your specific financial situation and goals. Before we explore that further, could you please provide me with an estimate of your annual income for your SaaS business and any other sources, such as the short-term rental property? This will help me assess the potential benefits of contributing to a retirement account for you. Now, this is the question that, this is a great question that was asked, okay? It did a few things here. It's really digging into my details, right? And I kind of threw it off course, asking kind of like a little question along the side. Obviously, it wanted to take me down the structured approach, but when you talk to a real tax advisor, you don't want to speak to a robot, right? You want to speak to someone that is actually understanding your concerns as a human, and then being able to kind of keep that context and go on with it. Okay, so let's go ahead and answer some of these questions. All right, so provide me with an estimate of your annual income for your SaaS business and any other sources, such as the short-term rental property. So let's just say, all right, 200,000 from SaaS business. Let's say 2,000 from short-term rental. Okay, and let's just see. Do anything else? All right, let's just kind of start with that. Thanks for providing your income information, Mark. Based on your income, it might be a good idea to consider contributing to retirement accounts such as traditional IRA, Roth IRA, solo 401k. These contributions can help save you for the future, blah, blah, blah. Now that I have a better understanding of financial situation, let's review the potential tax saving strategies and their estimated savings. Okay, so this is the good part. This is where I wanted to get to. Deducting business expenses. Since you have $25,000 in expenses, this will reduce your taxable income from your SaaS business, potentially saving you around $6,000 to $7,500 in taxes, assuming a 24 to 32% tax bracket. Okay, that sounds good. Home office deduction. You can potentially deduct a portion of your home office expenses, mortgage, interest, property taxes, utilities, for the space used as your home office. This could save you around $500 to $2,000 depending on your specific expenses and the size of your office. Short-term rental property, you can deduct expenses, yada, yada, yada. The exact savings will depend on your property's expenses, but it potentially save you around $5,000 to $10,000. Okay, so I like how it's being broken down by estimates of what I can save based on the information I've given it. Child tax credit. So remember before, earlier on in the conversation, I think it mentioned something about like a child tax credit, but it was very vague. Now it's getting into the details. With 2 children, you may be eligible for the child tax credit for your 8-year-old, $3,000, and the American Opportunity Tax Credit for your 18-year-old in college, up to $2,500. These credits could save you up to $5,500 in total. All right, this is good. Retirement account contributions. If you were to contribute to a traditional IRA, Roth IRA, or solo 401k, you could potentially reduce your taxable income, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so overall, you could potentially save around $17,000 to $25,000 in taxes by utilizing these tax strategies. However, I would recommend consulting with a certified tax professional. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Please let me know if you have any questions or any clarification on the strategy method. This is good. Maybe I'll just kind of throw in one more thing, but let's just say, but I'm a sole proprietor, and I'm not going to even worry about spelling that correctly. I'm going to throw it some curveballs. I'm a sole proprietor. Is that the right business entity for me? As a sole proprietor, you might be wondering if there are business entities that could provide you with additional tax benefits or liability protection. While I can provide you with general overview, I would recommend you consult with a tax professional. However, here are some common business entity options. Sole proprietorship. Okay, so it kind of goes into information about it. I'm going to tell it to stop generating, so I'm going to see if I can force it. So should I become an S Corp based on what you know about me? Based on the information you provided, it's possible that electing S Corp status could provide some tax advantages for you. However, it's important to consider the pros and cons of such a decision. Consult with a tax professional. Pros. Okay, so this is actually not bad. So it did give me a good, a better itemized plan of some of the things that I should do. So with this, I'm pretty much armed. I can take this to my tax advisor, my CPA, and really have a more in-depth conversation about the strategies that I want to do. Okay, so this is pretty good stuff. Let's go over to the next segment now. And what I like to do is really kind of get into some other possibilities that we can do here. Okay, so if you want a copy of the scripts and prompts and everything else I use to make this video, just drop a note in the comments below, and I'll go ahead and share it. So if enough people ask for it, I'll actually share it out, and I'll probably make a more in-depth video on a lot of the things that I use for this. Okay, so next up, we're going to give another example. In this next example, we're going to teach ChatGPT how to respond to client emails. We're going to actually use an example of an accountant who got an email from a potential client and how to program or prompt engineer ChatGPT on how to respond. Okay, so I'm going to switch to my screen again and let's dig in. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and type that email in. Let's actually do a new chat session to keep it fresh here. And so I'm going to paste in this email from the client right here. So basically, subject: seeking a new tax advisor for my business and personal finances. So basically, I'm acting like I'm a client sending an email. So, hi Mark, I hope this email finds you well. My name is Jim, and I'm reaching out because I'm seeking a new tax advisor for my business and personal finances. My previous tax advisor wasn't very helpful, and I feel like there could be more opportunities for tax savings that we haven't explored. I run a sole proprietor doing management consulting. My business has a total revenue of $130,000 last year. I made $40,000 in rental income. I don't know if I've taken full advantage of things like depreciation or other tax strategies. My previous tax advisor never discussed these with me. I'm considering buying a new property soon, and I heard there may be some ways to save on taxes when doing that. Also, I have two kids, one who's 8 and the other who's 18 in college, and I'm not sure if there are any tax benefits when I get that I can get from this situation. My wife is a stay-at-home mom, but she helps manage our rental properties. Maybe there's something that we can do to save on taxes. Here's a quick breakdown of some numbers from last year. Business expenses $40,000, rental property expenses $10,000. My wife's involvement with the rental property, she helps manage them, but I'm not sure the exact number, hours she worked. I haven't set up any retirement plans yet. I'd appreciate any recommendations that you might have based on my situation. I know my email might seem a bit disorganized, but I'm really looking forward to someone who can help me navigate the tax landscape better than my previous tax advisor. Looking forward to hearing from you. Okay, So this is the email. So imagine getting an email like this, from a client, and you have to respond. So you're probably going to want to have, tee up a conversation, but there's a lot of helpful information in there. Now, if we want to use ChatGPT to kind of reply to actually, give some really good advice in there, we can do that. Now, before you do that, you want to set the context. So what I did here is I pasted in another little script. This is where you tell about your firm as a tax advisor. So I just simply paste it in here. The above is an email. So I'm prompting ChatGPT here. I wrote here, the above is an email from the client. You are Mark Howard, an expert tax advisor at Brainy Tax AI. Provide a detailed response seeking a breakdown of suggested tax strategies, including potential savings per strategy. Also include a total estimated savings, assuming the client implements all of the suggested strategies. Okay, so let's hit enter and see what it comes back with. All right, so this is ChatGPT writing the email for me as Mark, the tax advisor. So, dear Jim, thank you for reaching out to me at Brainy Tax AI. I'd be happy to help you identify potential tax savings for the business and personal finances. I understand that you're seeking guidance and making the most of your tax situation. I'm confident that we can find some opportunities to optimize your tax liabilities. Based on the information provided, I've outlined several tax saving strategies below. So it gives so it's breaking down the email. Business expenses and home office deduction. You mentioned 40,000 business expenses, so it's recommending a business expense for the home office deduction. And it's giving an estimated savings on that. So potential savings, assuming a 24% bracket, deducting 40,000 expenses will save you around 9,600 in taxes. Okay, so this is probably just federal. It doesn't take into account state taxes, but I didn't mention the state in the email. Okay, rental property deductions. You can deduct various expenses from rental properties. You mentioned 10,000 in rental property expenses. Okay, additionally, depreciation on rental properties can provide significant tax benefits. Potential savings, assuming a 24% tax bracket, deducting 10,000 in rental will save you about 2,400 in taxes. Okay, employing your spouse in a rental business. Okay, since your wife manages the rental properties, you can consider hiring her as an employee. Interesting. This would allow you to deduct her salary as a business expense, reducing your taxable income. You would need to pay her a reasonable salary for the work she performs, and this strategy might also provide additional benefits, such as opening up eligibility for retirement plan contributions. Okay, so assuming 24% tax bracket, and a reasonable salary of $20K for your wife, this would save you $4,800 in taxes. Okay, retirement plan contributions. Okay, so it goes into some details, meticulous details on various retirement plans, including a SEP IRA, a solo 401k. In 2023, the limits are 25% of your net earnings. So a maximum of 61,000. Okay, so for a solo 401k, the contribution limits are 20,500 as an employee, and up to 25% of your net earnings. With it. Okay, so it's really giving some detail in terms of retirement options, and again, the potential savings. So it looks like it's basically giving me a summary potential savings with each of these, which is what I wanted to see. Education tax credits. So again, it's kind of breaking down the credits for my kids as well. Okay, so based on these strategies, the total estimated tax savings would be $26,500, and it does the math on this. Please note that these numbers and estimates may vary based. Okay, so it cuts off after a while, and you can actually type continue to actually have it continue right where it left off from, because like I said, it cuts off after a certain amount of text. So it'll pick back up right where it left off from. So basically, it's kind of closing the email out, blah, blah, blah. I would recommend scheduling a consult. Now, this is interesting. I would recommend scheduling a consultation to further discuss these strategies to review your complete financial situation. This will allow us to tailor our advice to your unique circumstances and explore additional tax savings opportunities. You can book a consultation on our website at brainytax.ai or by contacting our office directly. Okay, great. So, and then it ends the email. So this is great. It didn't do the thing earlier where it says you need to speak to a tax professional, because it knew from the context that I gave it in the prompt that I am a tax professional and that I'm replying and prompting GPT to reply as such as me. Okay, so this is really cool. We're just on the tip of the iceberg on kind of like unlocking a lot of possibilities from this. So let's kind of go back to our main screen here. So this is literally just the tip of the iceberg. So if you're a tax advisor or entrepreneur looking to use ChatGPT to, make your job easier and, really stay abreast of what's going on here in this fast-paced world, be sure to, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and like I said, I like to, if you want to see more videos like this, I'll put out some more. And if you want a copy of the prompts or in the scripts that I use to make this, drop a comment, let me know in the notes, and if enough people ask, I'll go ahead and share that out as well, and make some more follow-ups on this as well. And I'm curious, what's been your experience with using ChatGPT so far? Do you have any particular questions or topics that you would like to see me cover in this area? Let me know. And like I said, it's the tip of the iceberg. We're in early days. Keep hustling, and I will see you in the next video.